are thrilled to bring you our first ever production of CNN 10, a new 10-minute program that explains global news to our global audience. My name is Carl Azuz, and we are starting today by explaining the latest rift in the strained relations between the U.S. and Russia. For months, the Obama administration has accused Russia of interfering in last year's U.S. presidential election. More recently, it said Russia did this to help incoming President Donald Trump get elected. So over the holidays, the U.S. government sanctioned, it penalized some Russian intelligence services, some officers that worked for them, and 3 companies that helped support Russian intelligence. America also closed 2 Russian compounds and expelled 35 Russian diplomats from the U.S. So how did Russia respond? Its president, Vladimir Putin, has repeatedly denied interfering in the American election. He said he would not, quote, stoop to the level of irresponsible diplomacy, that he'd allow American diplomats to stay in Russia, and that he'd be working to rebuild relations with the U.S. after President-elect Trump is inaugurated. A lot of different perspectives on all this. The head of WikiLeaks, which published millions of hacked U.S. documents, said they did not come from the Russian government. Critics, including President-elect Trump, have said there's not enough proof the Russian government was behind the hacks. U.S. House Speaker Paul Ryan called the U.S. sanctions on Russia overdue, but said they were an appropriate way to end 8 years of failed policy with Russia. And Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham said the sanctions don't punish Russia enough. There's also trouble in the relationship between the U.S. and Israel, an American ally in the Middle East. On December 23rd, the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution. It says that Israel is breaking the law by building settlements on land it captured and claimed as its own during a war in 1967. The U.S. usually vetoes resolutions like this because it sees them as overly critical of Israel. But in this case, the U.S. abstained. It didn't vote. That allowed the UN resolution to pass when 14 other members of the Council voted for it. The resolution itself is mostly symbolic. It doesn't penalize international trade or cooperation with Israel. But it makes a statement that infuriated Israel, which has accused the Obama administration of secretly supporting the resolution. The U.S. government denies that, but all this has deepened the divide between America and Israel.
As a rule, settlements are Jewish-only communities that are on Israeli-occupied land that the Palestinians had hoped to use as a future state. And one of the sticking points here is that the Palestinians feel like their land has been stolen, and also that it stops them from having a contiguous or continuous area to call their own state. The Israelis say, look, some of this land is historically ours, some of this land is politically ours, and also they're using some of the land for security purposes. All in all, this is one of the sticking points in the peace process, and one of the things that Secretary Kerry has tried to undo. But now the gloves are off because of this UN resolution, in particular the Security Council Resolution 2334. You are seeing the reaction from Israel, especially Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is furious over this resolution that has basically slapped Israel's hand and said that they are breaking international law by putting those settlements in place. And then we heard from Secretary John Kerry, who talked about the fact that he believes that this is a real sticking point, a real problem in trying to go forward in a peace process.
10-second trivia. What part of the U.S. Constitution says congressional terms start on January 3rd? Article 4, the 14th Amendment, or the 20th Amendment? It's the 20th Amendment that sets January 3rd as Congress's start date unless Congress changes the date by law. And it was the 115th U.S. Congress that was sworn in on Tuesday. Of the 100-member Senate, 52 are Republicans, 48 are Democrats. That includes 2 independents who vote with the Democrats. Of the 435 voting members of the House of Representatives, 241 are Republicans, 194 are Democrats.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations, you are all now members of the 115th Congress.
That's what it's like to be sworn into Congress. Now for a look at what it's like to be there for the first time. There are 7 freshman senators this term and 55 freshman representatives. Here are 2 of them, along with their mutual hopes to work together.
I'm Jack Bergman, and I am the new freshman congressman from the 1st District of Michigan.
I am Val Butler Demings, representing Florida's 10th Congressional District from Orlando, and I am a new member of Congress.
People like us are sitting here today in these new freshman congressman roles because the people who vote said they want to see something happen different than what has been happening here in Washington, D.C. in the recent past. I believe that's why folks like Val and I got elected.
Many times we only focus on our differences and not our similarities. And I believe it was a major moment for us to begin there, not leading with our party. I didn't go through what I went through the last 2 years and didn't put my family through it to get here and do nothing. The only way we're going to be able to get some things done is to work together.
Together. That's how the Founding Fathers imagined it, and that's how it needs to be. So we're only going to be a freshman once, and if we don't take advantage as a freshman class, Dems and Republicans, to begin to make our mark in this 115th Congress, then we have missed an opportunity.
Strictly defined, an echo chamber is a room where the walls reflect sound, giving it echoing sound effects. Figuratively defined, it's when someone surrounds himself with ideas like his own and doesn't get other perspectives on a specific idea or issue. This is what a lot of people have set up for themselves on social media, though some may not even know it or have intended to create their own echo chamber.
It's human nature. We surround ourselves with people we agree with. And the internet has only made it easier. For many, Twitter is a place to have existing views reinforced. Often without realizing it, a lot of us choose to live in an echo chamber, a place where it can seem like everyone on Earth is just like us. And Facebook? Well, Facebook takes it even further. Of course you can hide those posts from your goofy aunt, but Facebook actually does a lot of that work for you, behind the scenes. It knows what you like and what you comment on, what brands you follow, what ads grab your attention, events you're attending, and publications you read. Facebook uses all that data to feed its algorithms, and those algorithms choose what you see. And if you know where to look, you can actually see what Facebook thinks you like. Your interests, your hobbies, and even your political views. The result is what's become known as the filter bubble, where your timeline is filled with opinions you share. Facebook actually makes money off knowing those things. They sell you and your filtered bubble to advertisers. Those advertisers will pay more to get their products in front of people that are likely to buy them. And if you're seeing things you like, you'll spend more time on Facebook, seeing more ads, and making the company more money. But does the bubble keep us well informed? It's a tough question to answer, especially while the technology is still changing so fast. But one thing's for sure, that technology has the power to make us more connected or more isolated than ever.
Now for 10 out of 10. Our last minute today goes to a robot designed by a man who worked on movies like Transformers. You can pretty much see that in the Method 2, a manned machine developed by a lab in South Korea. It's taken more than 2 years and $200 million to bring the idea to life. It's not finished. The designer compares it to a baby taking its first steps, and they're big ones. The Method 2 weighs more than 1.5 tons. So there is a man in the machine, and he's gotta love heavy metal. Some think it's just the prototype to play RoboCop, so you can keep your mechan eyes peeled for that. It's certain there's a method to the madness, and that is 10 out of 10 for CNN 10, where the puns are intended and automatic. I'm Carl Azuz. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you'll take 10 again tomorrow.